here I am parachuting in to do a special video, briefly, in the middle of the week. The one thing great about doing news commentary is that you never run out of material. There are always social issues, cultural issues, and news things, events going on that I can comment on. I guess the challenge is trying to keep up with it while you work a day job and take care of other responsibilities. Alright, well, what we're talking about today is a story that I read on the Yahoo News. It was talking about a new version of Cleopatra that's being released on Netflix. I guess apparently it must be produced by the Jada Pinkett Smith, and it stars a black Queen Cleopatra. And the article said that some Egyptians are up in arms and complaining that, Cleopatra wasn't African, and threatening to boycott the movie, even like introducing legislation. I mean, the Egyptologist, I can't pronounce his name, but he's the gentleman, the Zahi Hawass. Anyhow, I think he's kind of charming. But anyhow, he's one of the ones that are in this fight, because I'm an Egypt fan, so I've seen him on documentaries. But anyhow, he's chimed in on the fight about the Cleopatra not being ethnically correct. So the interesting thing is that the woke warriors seem to have started some of this cultural and ethnicity portrayals in movies, entertainment, and theater, and they've been very specific about it. Now, there's definitely an argument to be had, because, I mean, of course, previously it was ridiculous, to have Katharine Hepburn playing a Chinese person and having, Myrna Loy going into black face or Asian, that's just, it was too much. But those were a product of their times. So these days, it's much more common that, people of the correct ethnicities are cast in the roles. Now, that being said, there's also artistic license. And, I mean, Cleopatra, as a historical character, she is public domain, I would say. So, and some people say it's an interpretation of the history, but one concern is that it's maybe more than an interpretation, but a rewriting of the history. So that's a concern I noticed voiced in the comments section, because they're saying, Elizabeth Taylor played Cleopatra, and she's certainly not Egyptian or Macedonian. And, well, in those days, it was like everybody played everything, if you were the wrong ethnicity, you dyed your hair, or you put on some dark makeup, I mean, these days it would be cringe and not the right thing to do. But back then, everybody played whatever parts. I mean, Sarah Bernhardt played Cleopatra. It was one of her big parts, and Sarah Bernhardt was a Jewish French woman. So, a lot of artistic license has been taken with productions over the years. And then also I've heard you can do, like, in the theater, you can do, like, plays with, like, all Asian cast or an all black cast, or, I mean, they probably do, like, public domain classics or whatever, and I'd say if it speaks to their community, all fine and good. But it's just very interesting to see the woke warriors getting caught up in these battles, these cultural battles. I mean, on one hand, people say it's silly to fight over something like the ethnicity of who's playing what part. But remember the woke warriors, who was it? Was it on Aladdin or something? The movie, they were saying, the actress playing Jasmine didn't have the correct ethnicity. Even she was only 10%, from the Middle East, and really she should have been more. We can get really hung up on these things as far as casting goes. But it also underscores just how, in this world today of how much communication we have and how much everything is open, that how little things like art and movies and things can trigger cultural backlashes. Just little things like that. I mean, of course, we've all seen the thing with Halloween costumes getting triggered backlashes, of course, from the left as well. But this is having the countries triggering backlashes on different film portrayals is something, I don't know, something a little bit new. But I mean, to get the governments involved, I mean, I don't think. Now, obviously, if someone was saying, this is the correct history of Egypt, and this is how it is, then okay, maybe you'd have a bone to pick. Like, you're not going to be showing this drama at the Egyptian Museum and saying this is a completely accurate portrayal of everything that happened in Egypt. No, you're going. It's a drama, so there is definitely license. So it's complex. You know, you got Cleopatra is by a public domain historical character. She doesn't have relatives that are going to complain, but obviously now whole countries are getting in on the conversation. So yes, going forward, the artists these days do have to have some cultural sensitivities. I said I think it's partly because, you know, our world is so broad, where in the past it was very contained. You know, it was very contained, and that's why, you know, everybody played all the parts of the same race. They all played the same parts because they're very contained, and the other countries, they weren't being distributed to the other countries. Other people probably weren't paying any attention to it to complain. But nowadays we have a very open society, a very open world, and I guess we have to be careful. I mean, I know myself as a writer and an actress and film producer, I have to take these things into consideration as well. So probably the best thing is for artists to stick with their experience. Obviously, trying to write or produce somebody else's cultural experience is going to get you into some hot water. And they always tell you to write what you know, so I'm sure, you know, producing what you know is best too. So it would seem that if the artists generally need to sort of stick within their culture and tell their story, that sort of thing. So as an artist, like I said, and filmmaker myself, actress, I like to keep track of these different issues that face the artistic and film community these days, and how they might affect me down the road. So it does make for a delicate question when it comes to the diversity, because, you know, and working with the different cultures and the portrayals, there's definitely things to be careful about. But of course, we don't want to go too far and go nuts like the woke warriors about saying, oh, you know, an actor, you can't play any parts, you know, you have to be the one. Like, you can't play a witch, you have to be a witch. You can't play a crazy person, you have to be a crazy person. I suppose if you're playing a murderer, we need to go to the jail and get a real murderer out to play the part. It doesn't work that way, because acting is acting for a reason. It's a profession of make-believe and just putting together characters yourself. So, no, we're not trying to attack the people who have mental illnesses, or attack the murderers or whatever. You know, there's definitely got to be some license within the art. So at the same time, some cultural sensitivities for sure. So what do you all think? I think this is quite an interesting conversation, because this encompasses art, culture, how we perceive things, how we all get along as a broader world. I mean, should people be fussed up about, TV shows not being exactly historical, or should they just buzz off, mind their own business? And are people trying to really rewrite history, or are they just trying to present their version or some ideas? You know, we do need to have conversations and look at different people's visions. So it's all right. Let's post in the comments below, and we'll keep the conversation going. Thank you for watching. You take care, and let freedom ring.